equipo elegimos a Berlanga porque creemos que esta pelea es muy buena para la afición. Que se prendió un poquito la conferencia de prensa, el que haya hablado mucho Berlanga, el como venga también, que sé que viene a ganar con la mentalidad ganadora.
He's the pride of Guadalajara, the Mexican maestro, the unified super middleweight champion of the world, Canelo Alvarez. His challenger, undefeated knockout artist and pride of Puerto Rico, Edgar Berlanga. It's prime time.
Canelo versus Berlanga, plus Lara versus Garcia, Saturday, September 14th, live on PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
There is tomorrow. There's right now, Monday, September 9th. It's fight week. You just saw the promo. T-Mobile Arena, September 14th. Canelo takes on Edgar Berlanga, and you can watch that on Amazon Prime for the low price of $89.99 or thereabouts. What's going on, everybody? One round with George. It is fight week. It's a Canelo fight week. Does it feel like it? I don't know. That's why I'm on here, to ask you guys what you think. Regardless of what anyone thinks, a Canelo fight is still a big thing. At least I think so. So here it is. It is indeed fight week. And look at this. I got my man Jay Rich. Says, my man George, long time no see. I have been busy, but I'm here. The squared circle with Technum Dad. More will show up. Jay Rich is in the chat. Yes, of course. So it's good to be here. It's good to talk boxing. And September, every May, we've got a Canelo fight. He has his 66th fight coming up. He's 61, 2-2. 39 knockouts against the unbeaten Edgar Berlanga. Got James in the house. Squared Circle says, I like the card. I'm more hyped than I thought it would be. It's not a bad card, but for $90 though, I mean, let's take the price out of it. And talk about the card. You've got the main event, and you've got Lara and Danny Garcia, former 140-pound, 147-pound champion Danny Garcia. You got Caleb Plant and Trevor McCumbee. You got Stephen Fulton on the undercard. You got Rolly Romero on the undercard. Fulton and Romero have fights that shouldn't be too competitive. Plant and McCumbee. Trevor McCumbee it's like the curious case of Trevor McCumbee. He's only 31. But he's 31 and he's 28-0, has not fought anyone of significance. He had 4 years off for drug issues, tested positive for some PEDs. Says he's back. He says Caleb Plant is a quitter. I got Plant in this fight all day, especially because Ryan Garcia picked McCumbee. And Lara and Garcia is intriguing. Lara, let's get some more. Daniel Wood says, UK fan here, you have to pay me to stay up until 5 a.m. to watch Canelo versus Berlanga. Yeah, now I got to say, the UK fans, we complain about the times because I'm on the East Coast. So by the time the main event goes off, it'll be, I don't know, it could be anywhere from 11:45 to 12:30 before the main event happens. But they're like 5-6 hours ahead in the UK. Those are some fans. So Daniel, I don't know if anyone's going to pay you, but I hear what you're saying. Jay Rich says, have no clue why, but I think I'm most excited to see Lara versus Garcia, even though they're both washed. I was just about to talk about that. Lara's the Cuban. He's 67 years old, and he's turned into a knockout puncher at 160. I wish someone could explain that to me, how Erislandy Lara is suddenly a knockout puncher at the age of 73. He moved up to 160, and he's knocking guys out. And Danny Garcia hasn't fought in 2 years. Now, I like Danny Garcia. I was in his camp for 2 weeks before he fought Errol Spence. Love his dad. Love his family. Love him. But he hasn't fought in 2 years. So does he deserve it? No, but he's getting it. It's a tall task to beat Lara, especially when you've been out of the ring for 2 years. So James S. I already paid for it, having some people over, throwing some meat on the grill, drinking some beers. Let's go. Ooh, man. James, you already paid for it, huh? That's dedication. And George Canelo shit talking has been so damn good, hilarious. Yeah, he's really become a good trash talker. Can you say the same thing about Berlanga? Plant's gonna walk the dog. I got Plant all day. Magali has Sibin Viv Ridjiviv. All right. I don't know what that means. James, one thing about those boys in the UK, man, some hardcore fans. They show up for their people. There's no doubt. George, what's up, bro? UK fans may be the best in boxing. Listen, I've told this story before, but when Ricky Hatton fought Mayweather in Vegas, I was at the MGM. I always forget what floor. I try to lie and say the 60th floor, even though there's not 60 floors. I don't know. I was 12th, 13th floor. This is after the fight, after Ricky Hatton lost, and I could hear the UK fans chanting, "There's only one Ricky Hatton." So their fans are real. They're real. Lara with the grown man strength. Grown man, he's with the grandpa man strength. Dude is 82 years old, and he's dropping guys at 160. It's kind of unheard of. Jay Rich, I could see Lara stopping Garcia, but really think it will be a controversial Garcia decision win. I don't know. Garcia, I will say he's got a chin. He's got a chin. Lucy, Lara's become a knockout puncher because he's fighting cans. That's a good point. That is a good point. Very good point. Salute chat. Let's go. Yeah, it's good to have some UK fans. So I'm going to put the link in a little bit. But you have to. The question is, are these fights worth it? If you buy it, it's worth it. I don't know how many people are going to buy it, but a lot of people will watch it because it's so easy to watch these fights for free. A lot of eyeballs will be on any Canelo fight. So the undercard, not bad. It's not great, but again, Macumbi, this is his shot. He had about 4 years off. He's 31 years old, 28-0. He's been a pro for 14 years. So this is his shot to do something in the sport. Caleb Plant's the former champ, not terribly active, but he's still Caleb Plant. I mean, his only losses are to Canelo and David Benavidez. So I like Caleb Plant. I wish he would fight more often. Squared Circle with Tech Dad Garcia by split decision. Interesting. That's really a hard fight to call. You can't really back it with anything because if you throw logic into it, Garcia hasn't fought in 2 years. So, and he's fighting at 160. I think it's for the first time. I believe it's for the first time. And even if it isn't, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So, Danny Garcia has done very well for himself in the sport. He's made a lot of money and he's done very good with his money. He's been very smart. I love those success stories. But is he hungry to do this now? I don't know. I didn't think he was terribly hungry in the Spence fight. And that was how many years ago? Jay says, don't know too much about Macumbi, but hope Plank gets the KO. If you do a little research, it's intriguing. I mean, he was being hyped up years ago. And he literally disappeared for about 4 years. So Lucy Garcia's had 2 years off, and he's never even fought the weight. Lara should beat him, even though Lara is 80. I thought he was 84, but I think he's 80. Yeah, but that's also a hard fight to pick because Lara is whatever age he is. In Cuba, you never know how old these guys are. But are you guys? Is there hype for this fight? I watched the show on YouTube that Amazon did, and I forgot the name of it already. They did 2 episodes. They released them today. One is like 13 minutes long. One is 11. So it's the same people that did the All Access shows. So, they're shot well and they look nice. But it's 2 episodes, a total of about 24 minutes, with including the promo, including the commercial for the fight. So, they didn't put too much into the shoulder programming for this one. So it's telling when networks don't want to spend the money to promote a fight. It tells you how they think the fight is going to do, how many people they think are going to watch. Yeah, Jay, 147, 160. He might have fought in between, but I don't know. He hasn't fought in 2 years. So Canelo versus Berlanga reminds me of De La Hoya versus Mayorga, hothead versus technician. that was a fun fight. I'll tell you, Mayorga was a character. But think about Mayorga. He was knocked out by every good fighter except Vargas. Trinidad knocked him out. Oscar knocked him out. Shane Mosley knocked him out. Yeah. Lucy, Berlanga reminds me of a poor man's Jeff Lacey. Interesting. Garcia fought Benavidez at 154. Oh, there you go. Okay, so he did fight at 154, and that was his last fight. I remember Jose Benavidez. So I don't know what the odds are in the Berlanga fight, but I think Canelo. Let me know who you think is going to win the rematch. I think Canelo is going to destroy Berlanga. Berlanga went about 4 years in between knockouts. He knocked out everybody his first 16, 17 fights, all first round knockouts. Then he stepped up in competition, and the knockouts stopped coming, except for his last fight. Padraig McCrory, and I'm sorry, McCrory just wasn't that great. I knew somebody would have it. Wow. Okay. So Canelo is a huge favorite, minus 1,200. That seems right. Preface this with everybody has a shot. Berlanga doesn't have. Berlanga is not going to win this fight. How did he prepare for this fight? He fought once this year against Padraig McCrory. He doesn't have any names on his record. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He's got a lot of flaws. He's young. He's strong. A lot of fighters are young and strong, and then they get in there with world-class fighters, and they don't fare too well. I think Canelo doesn't knock many guys out. I think he's got a shot at a late-round stoppage, but I think Canelo wins this fight. I think Munguia, you can't really compare fights like this, but Munguia is a better fighter to me than Berlanga, and Canelo handled Munguia. So I think Berlanga gets smoked in this, all that Bronx stuff, like that's not going to help you in the ring. That's not going to help you. He's selling the fight, so I get what he's doing. James asks, true story, if you ever happen to meet Fernando Vargas in real life, don't bring up De La Hoya. He'll get mad and walk away. I shot with Fernando before he fought Shane Mosley the second time on HBO. It's a pay-per-view. Did an interview with him, did an interview with his wife and his kids. You'd have to look it up when he fought Shane Mosley the second time. But all his kids now that are pro fighters, they were at the gym, and there's footage somewhere on YouTube. They were little kids. They were in the gym with us. They were little kids. I like Fernando a lot. Fernando is a good dude, and when I think about Fernando Vargas, I think about that Trinidad fight, and I was there. I was with HBO. I was new to HBO. I was doing graphic. I was actually observing graphics. I was a production assistant, and I remember being in the truck for that one. And I remember all the hype for that fight. It was at Mandalay Bay, I think. And man, that first round was it was as brutal as it comes. And the fact that he fought back from that and knocked Trinidad down, and after 6, he got knocked down twice in the first. Probably should have been stopped, but he wasn't against, one of the hardest punchers ever in Felix Trinidad. He not only survives, he knocks Trinidad down even after 6, and Trinidad, hit him low a lot. Trinidad knew a lot of tricks, but Vargas, to me, was never the same after that fight. And he was young. He took a lot of punishment. He was never quite the same after that fight. Lucy, Berlanga also bit a guy in the last competitive fight he had. I can see that guy unraveling. Me too, Lucy. I don't think he's prepared now. The beautiful thing about the sport, everybody can talk and make predictions, but come fight night, that's when the truth gets told. Jay says Canelo carried Munguia last fight out of respect. He definitely sleeping Berlanga. Well, I don't know. Why carry a young, hard-hitting volume puncher I think if you can knock him out, you knock him out. James S. Yeah, Vargas. I really like Vargas. Yeah, Tech. Tito put on him, but look, I still watch. If you watch that fight after 6, it was even, and that's after a 10-7 round. So, Daniel Woods opinions on Bivol better be undercard being a pay-per-view, but not the main event. Seems bizarre. I'm definitely going to talk about that at another point. Great thing that main event is on ESPN Plus for free, and that's still the fight I'm looking forward to the most out of all the fights that are coming up. Yeah, we'll look. We'll talk about that another time, but. Yeah, Shakur. I always say I love Shakur. He's from Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, so I support Garden State Fighters. But it's $15. Joe Cordina, I think he's fighting. Which I'm trying to feign excitement, and I can't. So they want you to pay $15 for the undercard. I might pass. I mean, I'm going to watch it regardless, but I don't know if I'm paying for that undercard. But the fact that fight is for free, woo. Lucy Tito did a similar thing to David Reed. Tito was brutal at 154, and David Reed was another guy who super talented fighter. Remember, he had it was like a drooping eyelid, something. He had eye issues, and you're right. David Reed was a champ when they fought. I believe that's where Tito got the belt at 154. David Reed was a heck of a fighter, and he was never the same. Never the same after that. Canelo made that statement in a few interviews that he did carry Munguia. Yeah, he said it, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. My man Bruce. The lazy eyelid, they never could correct it. Yeah, he had surgery. If you don't know what I'm talking about, David Reed was from Philadelphia. I believe he was a gold medalist in the Olympics. I forget what year, but he had this eye issue, and his eyelid was drooping, so it affected his vision. And I don't know why surgery couldn't correct it, but really, really good fighter, Philadelphia. Yeah. Jay Rich, chat picking right up like you haven't been away, George. Man, I appreciate it. But it's fight week. Like I said, I'm getting the link in. But one of my favorite things to watch, Oscar De La Hoya every Thursday, I think it's Thursday, has a clapback Thursday. And he's out of his mind. And he talks smack about whoever. And, there's no love lost between him and Canelo. So this is from last Thursday. This is Oscar De La Hoya's clapback Thursday. So let's take a listen to Oscar De La Hoya.
Hey again, it's your favorite time of the week again. It's time for the only segment in boxing that gives you the facts and makes you laugh. It's Clapback Thursdays. The boxing news is still slow this week, but as always, I got creative because I realized it's the best part of your boring week. So let's go! Okay, so we're a week away from the boxing match that nobody asked for, right? And the UFC event that everybody will be watching. Canelo's fighting Berlanga. Another snooze fest. They're trying to sell a pay-per-view for $90 and $500 minimum in person. It's just robbery at this point to pay for another lame Canelo fight that always goes the distance against a subpar opponent. I'll actually be attending the UFC event at the Sphere instead. So now, I love the sport of boxing more than anything, and I will be watching boxing matches anywhere and anytime, even if it's a simple sparring session or two bums fighting in the street. So the idea I'm choosing to attend the UFC and support Dana White instead of Canelo tells you everything you need to know. Dana, I can't wait to see you next Saturday, buddy. I see that you got the same ab surgery I got. I always knew you wanted to be like me, bro. It will be great to hang out with you face to face. Let's go! Hey again, it's your favorite time of the week.
So there you go. Oscar with his clapback Thursday. And I want to get
tells
this
you
back up real
everything
quick.
you need to
Look at the ab surgery that he had. I mean, it's just bizarre. I guess when you have that much money, what else are you gonna do? Why not get some ab surgery? So he has his abs. If anyone doesn't know, and he's very open about it. One thing I'll give Oscar credit for, he doesn't hide anything, and he's very open with the fact that he's got ab surgery. But there you go. That was Oscar talking about Canelo Berlanga, how no one's interested, and that's a great point because this Saturday, Dana White and the UFC, they have the big card at the Sphere. I think it's the first sporting event there. Now, I don't follow UFC, but I've been around some people who do, and they say that the sales aren't going well for that. Maybe it's because Canelo. I mean, Dana White chose that day specifically to go up against boxing, to go up against Canelo. So I don't know if it will shoot him in the foot. I don't know, but the 14th you have the Canelo, and the UFC fans have a big UFC card, same day, same city. Combat sports. That's what they call it. I'm always up front. I'm not a combat sports fan. I'm a boxing fan. So, James S., did you happen to catch that Jarrett Hurd fight a few weeks ago? Yeah, well, I did not. He fought Jason Rosario, and it was a draw. And I've heard that Hurd lost. In fact, I don't watch Pro Box, but I was with Chris Algieri a few weeks ago when we talked about that, and he said that both guys are done, and Hurd in particular. He fell really, really far, really fast. It wasn't that long ago that Hurd was a champion. And then he lost his title, and then it's been all downhill. So I did not see the fight. I know he fought Jason Rosario, a former champ. So who beat J-Rock? J-Rock beat Hurd. Rosario beat J-Rock, and then they fought a draw. But I did not see that fight. Oh man, Jay, I should have done my research. Jay says, love Oscar, but please tell me you've seen Dana White clapback. I did not. I did not see the clapback. But I know it had to be hilarious. James S., the cheapest tickets, $2,500 for the UFC fight. The cheapest I saw. Well, I don't know. Maybe Dana overplayed his hand by going head to head with Canelo. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to get a lot of people that watch. Maybe not a lot in person. Dana White absolutely hates Oscar. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, Oscar talks a lot of smack. Is he really going to be at the UFC? He'll probably do it just to spite Canelo. But true, I have heard that Dana doesn't like him. Shout out to Dana White, by the way. You know what? I've never met Dana White. Hope to meet him sometime soon. I got to give him a shout out because Dana White's favorite fight, I'm not going to let you guess, but you might think it might be a high-profile fight, Leonard Hearn, something. Dana White's favorite fight from 1992, a featherweight fight between Kevin Kelly and Troy Dorsey that was on Tuesday Night Fights, USA Network. Great fight. Google it, YouTube it, look it up, watch it. That was Dana White's favorite fight. So I give him props for that. Because you have to be a boxing fan to know who those guys are. It wasn't a title fight, it was on USA Network. So shout out to Dana White. Yeah, so Lucy, you heard the same thing as me, that it's not doing well, but it's only Monday. A lot of people buy tickets. Well, I don't know. With the tickets that expensive, is there really a walk-up? I don't know. I'm going to get that link out soon because I'm off at 8 because I have the boss over my shoulder making sure I'm going to be done at 8 o'clock. If I'm not done by 8, I'm in trouble. But this is not the first time that UFC has an event when Canelo fights on Mexican Independence Day. It's just UFC never put on this big an event on that day. Well, we'll see. We'll see. And James, I'm sure you're talking about Jarrett Hurd, right? Yeah. Oh, man. I have to watch the clapback. Dana White hates Oscar, says Jay Rich, and basically said, where the hell is he getting the tickets from? Because it ain't him. Well, Oscar probably isn't even going to that. He just said that to say it. The Flushing Flash. Shout out to my man Kevin Kelly. That's my dude. I interviewed him a few weeks ago. Good guy, good family. Just watched that one with my wife a few weeks back. She had never seen it. It was amazing. Which one was that? Because I'm throwing fights out there. Fast and Furious. Man, I wish I could pronounce your name, but these types of fights are orchestrated for entertainment purposes, in my opinion. It's like a play. You talk about Canelo Berlanga. I don't think. I think Berlanga probably gets stopped, and if he doesn't get stopped, it's because Canelo. That's the fight you saw. Kelly Dorsey, great fight, great fight. I got to talk to both those guys, Troy Dorsey and Kevin Kelly, about that fight, and they're both doing great today. But oh man, James S. Tuesday night fights. That's how I became a boxing fan. Watching those with my grandfather. Getting old. Hey man, we're all getting old. I was just with Jim Lampley and we talked about a ton of fights, and that was one of them. Lucy says Hurd was pretty good for a while. He had no defense at all, but he did beat Erislandy Lara. He did. And he looked good. But he's just one of those guys that his peak came and was gone. And he seems like a shell of himself. I heard that. Bruce Gass says, did you hear Turkey wants Bakoli versus Zhang and Bochuk and Majamov on the undercard of Fury Usyk? Bring it. I would love to see it. Bakoli and Zhang is a fun fight. You better have got some picks with Lampley, George. Of course I do. Of course I don't have them ready to be put on. I was cheesing in my pictures too with Lampley. I was in North Carolina. At some point, I'm going to get all the pictures of all the guys that I've interviewed in the last couple months and put them up. But yeah, absolutely right, Lucy. 2 really good fights. I would love to see those fights on that undercard. That undercard is in December, Fury Usyk 2. So pump that undercard up. Let me get this link in because I've only got another half hour. So boom. Link is in. So if anybody wants to talk boxing, James says, yeah, Hurd was undefeated for years. As soon as he lost, yeah, you're right. That was it. It's just funny. Things just happen. And J-Rock, another Philly fighter who I thought was going to reign for a while, Breadman Edwards in his corner, looked really good in that Hurd fight in Hurd's backyard. Then his first fight's in Philly. His first defense, I should say, is in Philly. And he fights Jason Rosario, and Rosario just destroyed him. And he's never been a champion again. His career really, it's funny. Boxing is, there's no guarantees you're going to win a belt. And there's no guarantees when you're a champ, how long you're going to be a champ. And Jarrett Hurd and J-Rock, Julian Williams, they're 2 examples of guys that you thought would have, somewhat of a reign as champion, and they just didn't. Speak of the Mongolia, he'll be here at the end of the month. Can't wait for that one. Fighting on a Friday Top Rank. I guess DAZN gave him the boot. Yeah, I know Prime has got some stuff coming up, but this card, like I said, it's the 14th. It's at the T-Mobile Arena. Does anybody think Berlanga is going to win? I don't want not have a chance because everybody has a chance. I don't think he wins. I don't think he wins this fight. And again, I saw the 2-part show that Prime put out on this fight. Look, it was 2 episodes. It was 24 minutes in total. 24/7s used to be 30 minutes each for one episode. So, they didn't put too much into it because they're just not expecting much. I do love Berlanga's trainer, Mark Ferre, great trainer. But I don't think, I'd like to say everyone has a chance. Everyone does have a chance, but Berlanga's not winning that fight. J. Rich Berlanga gets hit flush a lot. Canelo might murder him, I'm afraid. But Berlanga's big, and Canelo is not a big 168 pounder. All right. My man coming to the stage. He is 5 foot. I don't know what he weighs. He's the former champion of the world, known as Bruce Gas.
Big George.
What's up, my man, Brucey?
How we doing, my man?
Good, man. It's fight week.
Well, if you want to call it a fight, it's fight week. I mean, even the undercard seemed kind of weak to me with, Danny Garcia and Lara.
Yeah, they have a lot of names, but not a lot of really good fights.
Not a lot of really good fights. Nope.
Turkey
Al-Sheikh is the savior. Turkey Al-Sheikh brings us the fights we want to see.
I got to give it to him. Look, Bivol better be a Bivol is still the fight I'm looking forward to most, and now it's free.
That's a crazy setup. It's free, but you have to have the ESPN Plus app, and then the undercard, the Shakur Stevens fight, that's pay-per-view. So it's
and the ESPN Plus app it's not a free app, right?
No, not a free
So you
app.
do have to pay. So they say it's free, but it's really not free because I do have ESPN Plus, but not everyone does. So you do have to pay something.
Yeah, this ain't like Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, but you know what, Bruce? It's also not $90 like this Canelo fight is.
Well, I don't know. You know how I feel about that. I stream them all. That's rich man's problems.
Most people do stream them. I think I read somewhere that somebody said they're going to start to lower prices on pay-per-views because they know people will stream them illegally, but they're trying to entice people to pay for them. Because I don't know. I mean, once in a while when I watch something that I haven't paid for, sometimes the stream isn't great. So I guess they're trying to drop the prices to get people to pay. I don't know if it's going to work. $90 for Canelo Berlanga.
That's just insane. It really is. I mean, that wouldn't even be a head turner on HBO free. It just doesn't. There's no pop there, and they're trying to build the angle Puerto Rico against Mexico. What is it? Mexican Independence Day? Is that the holiday?
Yeah.
So I mean, they're doing anything to get this fight sold, and then going against UFC in Vegas same night. The crazy business of boxing. It's not like boxing's the only sport around. There's just so much competition now. We're a niche audience, and if you're not a boxing fan, you're really not going to pay it. And if you are a boxing fan, you're probably going to stream it. So it's a crazy world. This 21st century boxing, George.
It is. I watched today. They came out. It was on YouTube. I guess Prime did a 2-part series. I think it's called "The Gloves Are Off" or something like that for the Canelo Berlanga fight. It's the same people that do All Access, and some of those people did 24/7. So the quality is good, but it was 2 episodes. One was like 13 minutes. The other was 10 or 11. So they both came out on the same day. They're not putting much into the shoulder programming. They're not putting a lot of time or money into it. I think they know, if this was a fight if this was Canelo Benavidez, you better believe they would have had some kind of a 4-part episodic out. So they're not putting too much into the shoulder programming. I'm just not. I mean, it's only Monday, and I feel like I do this every time there's a big name but not a big fight. On Monday, you're like, but then Thursday, Friday comes around, and they've had the press conferences and the weigh-in, and we get sucked in. We want to see it, but make no illusion. I mean, Berlanga doesn't deserve this, but who does? I mean, deserve, that's the worst word in boxing now. He doesn't deserve it, but he's getting it. I think he's going to get destroyed.
The only fight that I'm interested in seeing Canelo fight is Benavidez, obviously. We've been waiting for years for that fight. I think it's going to happen. I think Canelo is going to say, this is my going away fight. Here's my gift to all my people, and we're going to get that fight. Canelo, he's over the hill. We wanted to see that fight 3 years ago, and it's on the scale now of Floyd and Manny. names that we've been anticipating for years, but it's probably going to it's not going to be the fight that we saw. The sizzle is not going to be the sizzle is going to be greater than the steak. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be it's going to be one of those kind of fights if and when it does happen. But Canelo fighting Berlanga, that's a joke fight. And anybody that's taking that seriously and rah Canelo, I mean you can do what you want to do. You're the #1 pound for pound fighter in the year. Give your people a treat. That's all bullshit, George. That's all rah stuff. And this is not going to be a competitive fight. Definitely not.
So.
You.
No, I don't think so either. But now, Canelo's always pay-per-view. I would have rather, obviously, I'm with you. Like, Benavidez is the guy I would want to see. But Billy, I'd like to see Canelo fight Billy. I think Canelo beats him, but at least Billy, he fought, who did he fight? Derevianchenko his last fight?
And Derevianchenko had one arm. I think Billy has a little bit more to prove. There's David Morrell. I mean, David Morrell, I think would be primed to get in there and fight Canelo or Benavidez.
But they both. I mean, are they both staying at 175?
Money. Boxing's a strange thing. Back in our day, you were classified to weights. If you were a middleweight, you fought middleweights. If you were a welterweight, you fought welterweights, and so on. But now everybody's expecting crossover fights. Nobody's giving a Monster Nui any credit unless he moves up and takes on one of the featherweights. I mean, it's crazy that people don't respect weights anymore. But as far as the 168 pounds and the 175 pounds, a lot of those guys, maybe not so much Canelo, but the other guys we were talking about, the Benavidez, the Morrells. They're all interchangeable. They're going to wait for the winner of a great fight that we got coming up too, man. Who can not be thrusting at the mouth for Bivol and Beterbiev?
Oh man, I can't wait. I was so bummed when it got postponed. And I think the odds have shifted a little. I think a lot of people are saying, well, Artur's older now and he keeps getting hurt. And he's 38, 39, whatever he is. I still have Artur unless he walks into that ring and he's completely washed, which I don't think he will be. But man, I can't wait for that fight. And it's on ESPN Plus, which is not free. Like you said, it's not free, but again, it's also not $90 to watch that fight. So I can't wait, man.
Well, I guess if you've got the money, it's all relative, but that's a fight that we're going to watch regardless of how we have to watch it. If I have to go to a bar and if I have to go to Dave and Buster's and sit there and watch the fight, I'll do it. This is just a must see. I can't think of a heavyweight fight, a light heavyweight fight shy of maybe Spinks and Kwawi that we anticipated so much.
Yeah, remember that one? Oh man, you and I have talked about a lot of the old fights. You know something? Michael Spinks, I feel he's really underrated. I think a lot of people ranked him among the top like 2 or 3 light heavyweights of all time. But I feel like the fans of today, they kind of forgot who Michael Spinks was, and he's kind of overlooked. But that boxing performance against Kwawi was amazing. It was amazing. Michael Spinks was a great. People remember him getting knocked out by Mike Tyson in 91 seconds, whatever. Michael Spinks was a great light heavyweight.
One of the all-time greatest, man. That Spinks jinx.
Yep.
And that telephone pole jab that he had, and you never saw him in any danger. He always had his wits about him. He was dominant in that light heavyweight. He ran right through that division. Eddie Gregory, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
Yep.
He was one of the best, and Spinks played with him basically.
Yep. Underrated, but man, I got Artur in that fight. I just think he's too good for Bivol. I don't think Bivol is going to be able to outbox him. I think Bivol will have moments, but who cares? Like, who cares about predictions? Like, I can't wait to see the fight. And you said the word, like you said, must see. Like what you just said, you said, I'll do whatever I have to do to watch that fight. Pay for it, go to a bar, go to wherever. That's when you know it's a must see fight. Like Canelo Berlanga, people are like, I feel like I'm gonna watch it, no doubt. You're gonna watch it, no doubt. But I think most people are like, if I see it, I do. Like, I'm not gonna go out, I'm not gonna pay $90 for it. It's definitely not must see TV, although it's got, with the price tag on it, you would think it was a must see fight. I I don't mind good fights. Not everything has to be a must see, but man, just don't charge $90. But look, I'm not a business major, so they're charging $90 for a reason. I don't know what it is. Will people buy it? I don't know.
Well, I'm just so far away from that conversation. I'm from that school where I'm retired, and my days of buying fights are retired too. I think I told you before. The last time I paid for a fight was Thomas Hearns and Iran Barkley too, and it didn't come in, and it still didn't come in that well either. Now,
It must have been the rematch, right? It was the rematch. Okay,
1987, maybe somewhere around that time.
something like that. Yeah.
And man, I get them. I just feel I have my computer. I don't have a television. I don't have cable. I don't have a dish. All I do is
you don't have a TV?
No. Well, I have a screen, but it's a monitor.
Wow, you cut all ties, because I don't have cable either. So you cut all ties, no TV, no cable. You watch everything on your screen. On your monitor.
I even got rid of my turntable and my CD player. I don't even listen to albums or CD music. I just stream everything. My whole life is on the stream, man. I know today I went on this morning. I called Tim Witherspoon. I went on and did a show about Jimmy Young, and it was so much fun, man. Because Tim sparred with Jimmy, so he had a first-hand experience. Right. And then I come over here and you're talking to Scully, who's right in camp with Baturbiev. I mean, George, this how much real can a boxing fan get involved in this right here? We're right on the ground floor talking to these stars, past, present, future. I mean, this is where it's at for me.
It is a different day, and it's good and bad. I think it's mostly good, because you're right. Like, you and I are talking on this little screen. And you couldn't do this when we were kids. If you wanted to talk boxing, you had to work for one of the networks, HBO or Showtime. That's the only way you were going to talk boxing. But you're right. But look, man, it's a Canelo fight week. So what's your prediction for Canelo Berlanga?
5 rounds, Canelo. Probably referee keeping in his corner, RTD.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe 5 to 8, and I know, like, we all know the standard lines, like, oh, he's big, he's strong, he's got a shot. Yes, but he's not winning this fight. If Berlanga wins this fight, then we got a lot to talk about come Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We have a lot to talk about, but Edgar Berlanga, undisputed super middleweight champ? Nah, I don't see it. Although, now, if you and I were doing the show back in 1990, when a guy named James Douglas was fighting Mike Tyson, you and I would be saying, oh my God, like, it's going to be another 30-second knockout. So you never know. But Bruce, we know. Canelo's
but George, that's why I never miss him. That's why I never miss a fight. Why? Right. Man, that Buster Douglas and Tyson fight, how many people didn't know about that till the next morning that I told, and they were like, what? And I said, oh yeah, and I got this VCR tape here. Oh, put it in. 10 o'clock in the morning. It's like, shut off CBS Sunday morning, man. Mike Tyson got knocked out last night, and you didn't see it. So I'm not going to be that guy.
You know what, Bruce? I was in North Carolina last week, and I interviewed Jim Lampley for a boxing doc series I'm doing, and we talked about 6 or 7 fights, but I was asking him about his calls, his iconic calls. Like, I asked him, do you not rehearse them, but do you know what you're going to say? He said, I've never written anything down. And he brought up the Tyson Douglas fight. And he said that it was such a momentous night, and you could see what was going to happen from the second or third round. Like you could see where this was going. And when it happened, he just kept saying in his head, I don't need to scream. I just need to be succinct. And if you remember, all he said is Mike Tyson. He said Mike Tyson's been knocked out. That was it. And he said that Larry Merchant, who was on the telecast too, along with Sugar Ray Leonard, that Larry told him that it was the greatest boxing call he'd ever heard, just because the moment was so big, like everyone's going crazy, and he kept calm and cool and just said, Mike Tyson's been knocked out. And I watched it when I came home, and it like he was so good, man. He was so good, and that fight, that call, everything, that was incredible. But I'll tell you what, I don't think we're gonna hear anyone saying Canelo has been knocked out. That's not happening this week.
Well, man, you just never know, and that's why we're in this game. Anything can happen, man. It's and the morning of the Joshua Dubois fight, I'll get a little stomach churning for that fight. That could, to me, that has a lot. That has a lot of interest. I think Joshua's going to win the fight, but and that's only another 2 weeks away too. So everything is happening so close, so quickly. It's great to be a boxing fan. There's a lot happening. But the thing about it now, George, is we get to see the whole card. We get to see the prospects, the undercards, the women boxing. It's like an all-day affair. Sometimes it's a little bit.
So you like that? You like that? I know you do. You like those 5-6 hour cards.
I don't mind them. I can take a break. I can go for take a walk with the dog and come back, and if there's a fight that I don't want to see. But yeah, I like the fact that we can see the undercards now. We get to see the preliminaries and pretty much the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah,
I don't mind it.
Those are long cards, man. I mean, I'm like, I'll walk away. Like James says, he loves them. Yeah, but they're like, some of those things, they're 4 or 5 hours long.
Oh, we had a 9.5 hour one.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my God.
What were those people thinking? And they were up till 3 a.m. because I kept checking to see the time in Riyadh, and it's like it's 7 o'clock here, but it's 3, 4 a.m. there, and they're going strong. So I mean, I'm not going to say poor me, because they're right in the heart of things. They're enjoying it and cranking out the hours I used to crank out when I was in my 30s.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, I'm going to end this, man. I try to keep these short. But so you got Canelo 5th round.
Oh yeah, Canelo 5th round.
All right, I got Canelo.
Always a black brother.
Yeah, man, we got to talk soon. I'm gonna check out your next show and start bugging you to come on, because I haven't been on your show in a while.
And yeah, I'll get you on there with some of the OGs too, because if you fit right in for sure, bro.
Absolutely. All right, brother.
Peace out.
All right, talk soon. My man, Bruce Gas. I'm going to end this at 8. I got my man Levi Sullivan wearing a sporty hat. Let's get him in.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, George?
Good, man. Sorry I kept you waiting so long. Dude, so give me your thoughts, man. It's fight week. It's Canelo fight week. Are you pumped? Are you not pumped? What's going on?
I'm in between.
Yeah.
If this wasn't $90, maybe I'd buy it just to see, like Caleb Plant's fighting there, Rolly. They got the middleweights fighting. It's just not that interesting. Like Berlanga, he's not a bad fighter. He has the potential to get better, but he doesn't deserve this.
Well, listen. I agree 1,000%. But when you start talking about what fighters deserve things, most fighters don't deserve it. Because you're right. He fought Padraig McCrory his last fight, and off of that he gets a shot. Yeah. But I'm with you, man. I'm just not excited, especially for $90.
Yeah, and
especially.
And a point on Berlanga, that last fight he had on his own, that was the first knockout he had in a while since he left Top Rank. Like, he goes over to Matchroom, and then he gets a bunch of decisions against the guys who he should have been knocking out.
Agreed. I think he went like 3-4 years. I think he went a long time.
And the guy
without a knockout. And McCrory, look, no offense to all the McCrory fans, but it's not like he's a top fighter.
Yeah.
And now Berlanga gets this big shot. I just don't think he's good enough. And Canelo might not be what he was, but I think somewhere between the 5th and 8th round, Canelo's getting a knockout.
Yeah, I'd like to think that, but I said the same thing about the Charlo fight and the Munguia fight, and that didn't happen. Like, I thought he was going to get Munguia out of there just to get back at Oscar for what he was saying.
Right. Yeah, and that's the motivation because he can't stand Oscar. So you think, and then I read someone had in the chat said that Canelo claims he carried Munguia. These fighters, they don't carry anybody. He wasn't carrying Munguia. He just couldn't stop him. Canelo doesn't knock many people out now. I think Berlanga's lack of defense. Look, he's a big, strong guy, so that might carry him through 12. But I am like you. I have been calling for Canelo knockouts, and he hasn't been knocking them out. But if he's going to knock anyone out, Berlanga, you would think he would be the guy he would knock out.
Yeah. Not to think it, but his problem is his output. He's not throwing enough. Like, he's throwing enough just to keep the guy away from him and hope that he doesn't do anything back.
Now this is cool. I got you on, and I got your quote here. Michael Spinks gets a bad rap for the decision in the second Holmes fight and what happened with Tyson. That's true. And my point was a lot of people forget how good he was at light heavyweight because I was a kid when he was in his reign, when he beat Eddie Mustafa Muhammad and he had all those title defenses, and when he beat Dwight Braxton. I think he was still Braxton. He might have been Muhammad Qawi. He was a great light heavyweight. Great light heavyweight.
Yeah, and a decent enough heavyweight too. He was just unfortunate, like a lot of heavyweights, to be in the town of Mike Tyson.
Right. He was decent. Now I thought he beat Larry Holmes in that first fight, no doubt. The second fight, I didn't think he won. I thought Larry Holmes won that second fight. And then of course, like you said, everybody remembers Michael Spinks for the 91 seconds with Mike Tyson, but he was so much more than that. But better be a Bivol. Coming up. It's on ESPN Plus. So I mean, all you have to pay if you don't have ESPN Plus, you just have to pay for the app, which is better than $90 like you're paying for Canelo Berlanga.
Yeah, and that's absurd. Like $90. Like Berlanga's not worth $90. It's not worth, especially when you're going up against the UFC at the Sphere.
Yeah, you know what? When I'm the first to say I don't know the business of the sport. There are people with PBC, with these fighters, that's all they're about is the business. And someone decided, yeah, let's charge $90 for this pay-per-view. Someone said this is a good idea. Let's do it. I'm not I didn't go to school for business. I don't have a good business head, but I can't see this getting a lot of buys, especially when it's so easy to see them for free.
Yeah, and what are the ticket prices for in person? Like I heard around $500.
Yeah, see, although someone in the chat said they checked the T-Mobile Arena and it seems like it's sold out except for the upper deck. There's seats left up there. So people are still paying in person to see this, but $90.
Yeah.
Like Kagi says, it's a joke. I think it's a joke, especially this makes you want to stream it for free. I don't know. Again, if they get a lot of buys, maybe it was smart to have it 90.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
That's just to reinforce Canelo's status as like a big seller, especially since he's fighting on a Mexican holiday. And I was bringing this up with some buddies a while ago. There's a reason why Canelo fights on Cinco de Mayo or Mexican Independence Day, because he can make more money that way. Like, watch him fight on a day that isn't a Mexican holiday and watch how different the numbers are.
Exactly. That's a good point. I like the hat, man.
Hey.
Styling. Are you gonna wear that fight night?
Yeah. I wear it a lot of the time. So.
All right. Well, I'm about to jump off, but I do want to get a prediction about a fight we're going to be talking about in a few weeks. That light heavyweight unification fight. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Who do you have in that one?
That is a real 50-50. Even when you factor in like Beterbiev's age, injuries, and Bivol's, well, he has power, but not Beterbiev power.
Right.
So I don't know. Part of me wants to say like Bivol by decision, or even by corner retirement if Beterbiev's injuries catch up with him.
Interesting. I've always been picking Artur, but I have sensed now since the fight was postponed, a lot of people are swinging towards Bivol, and they're saying the age, his body's breaking down. I still think Artur is going to win. I think he's a special fighter, but at some point, he's 38. I don't know when he's going to be 39, but at some point, no matter what kind of shape you keep yourself in, Father Time wins, and he's going to get in that ring, and he's not going to be Artur anymore.
One thing that concerns me for Bivol is how focused he is. Like, I don't want to get too much into his personal issues. I know he and his wife are splitting up.
Yeah.
Had a word or two to say about him. So
Yep.
I hope he's 100% focused on this.
Well, some fighters like Tank Davis, some guys can just, with all that, not Mike Tyson when he was younger, with all that craziness going around them, they can just focus on the fight. Bivol, yeah, I've seen that stuff too with his wife on social media.
Yeah, where she's saying she's Team Canelo.
Yeah, which, look, I mean, I don't know what they're going through, but we'll see. Some fighters can just block, and some people, period, have that ability they can block everything out in their life and just focus on what they're doing, and some can't. So if Bivol is a guy that can't block that stuff out, I mean, he's already got enough of a problem with Artur Beterbiev, and if he's got like domestic issues going on in his head, I mean, we'll see, but I can't wait for that fight. I'm going with Artur. I'm still going with Artur in that fight, but I want to see that fight, man.
I felt, I feel like it happened again when I heard that the fight got postponed. Like, I was so hyped up for it, and then I look at the news like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, boxing strikes again.
Well, I talked with Iceman Scully. It was, a couple months ago now, I think. And he said at the time we talked that Artur was in Siberia. Like, he does a pre-camp before his camp. So at the time we talked, he was in Siberia just doing whatever he does in his pre-camp, which is probably harder than a lot of fighters' camps. So the good thing about Beterbiev, that as long as he doesn't get hurt beforehand, he's going to show up in tremendous shape. And if he loses, he's going to have to get beat by Bivol, because Beterbiev is going to bring it. He's going to be in top shape, and Bivol has always been in top shape in all his fights. I can't wait for the fight, man.
Yeah, I think Bivol's best chance is like to land a punch to get his respect. I remember what Customato said to Ali before he fought Foreman: hit him with your best right hand to let him know you can hurt him.
Yeah. The thing with Archer, though, I mean, he's so composed. But I still think it's definitely, you want to get that respect. Any fighter wants to get that respect. And so the other guy knows, even if he doesn't show it, like, okay, this guy's got some power. He's serious. But, brother, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be on live a couple more times this week because I'm going to get more hyped. Like, the closer we come to the fight, I'm going to get more hyped. But, dude, bro, next time you come on, you got to wear that same hat. I like it, man. I might have to go out and get one of those.
Hey, fedoras are back in style.
I like it, bro. I like it. All right, brother. We'll talk soon, man.
All right, peace out, George.
All right, peace. My man Levi Sullivan had the great dome. Keggy says, great stream. Peace out. He also said Beterbiev will slowly break down and stop Bivol. That's what I'm going with. I think he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna stop him, but I think people are gonna be shocked that Bivol. He won't be able to outbox Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev's pressure is going to get to him. Dan something. I think Bivol winning would make more of an interesting fight. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the odds are. I don't check on the odds too much till the fights are closer. Man, I pay $150 to fill my truck. Now that's a robbery. Look, that's a whole other story. We know that. Keggy says Turkey is changing the game. $15 pay-per-views and 20 for a special one. Look, I love it, but nobody else is going to do that. Nobody else is going to do that. So, all right. Well, it is fight week, and let me see. Yeah, I can't find the promo for my show, but it's fight week. It's September 9th, Monday, September 9th. It's September, by the way. It was just June. But anyway, we got the fight coming up on Saturday. I'm going to be live a few more times this week. We'll talk some boxing. Peace out. By the way, how about one more time? Oscar De La Hoya. One last time as we ride into the sunset.
Hey again, it's your favorite time of the week again. It's time for the only segment in boxing that gives you the and makes you laugh. It's Clapback Thursdays. The boxing news is still slow this week, but as always, I got creative because I realized it's the best part of your boring week. So let's go! Okay, so we're a week away from the boxing match that nobody asked for, right? And the UFC event that everybody will be watching. Canelo's fighting Berlanga. Another snooze fest. They're trying to sell a pay-per-view for $90 and $500 minimum in person? It's just robbery at this point to pay for another lame Canelo fight that always goes the distance against a subpar opponent. I'll actually be attending the UFC event at the Sphere instead. So now, I love the sport of boxing more than anything, and I will be watching boxing matches anywhere and anytime, even if it's a simple sparring session or two bums fighting in the street. So the idea I'm choosing to attend the UFC and support Dana White instead of Canelo tells you everything you need to know. Dana, I can't wait to see you next Saturday, buddy. I see that you got the same ab surgery I got.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.